It is Friday again, and what does that mean? It means my favorite way, and hopefully your favorite way, to get to know your Atlas recruiter, the often imitated, never duplicated Atlas MedStaff 5-Question Friday. With me this week, senior recruiter Luke Brower. Luke, welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's
All
go.
right.
Bring it on.
First question, same as it always has been. Tell me who Luke Brower is.
That's a large question. I like to think of myself as a people person first and foremost. I'm a guy that really values the people that he loves the most, and so my family comes first. My wife and my kids and my extended family, they're the people that I choose to invest in. When I was growing up, my parents always said, whatever your beliefs are on this, my parents always said, the only thing that lasts after this world is over is people. And so for a very long, I took that to heart, and my relationships with people matter to me, and how I invest in people, how I invest in future generations, how I meet people in moments of need. I feel like that is one of the ways that we as human beings can make the world a better place, is by giving something of ourselves to make somebody else's life better. And so that's a huge aspect of who I am. My family consists of my wife and I. I have 4 kids from a previous marriage, and then my wife has 2, so we are the veritable Brady Bunch. We have 3 boys and 3 girls together. It is a wild ride. For about 4 years in a row, we had 1 kid in elementary school, 1 kid in middle school, 1 kid in high school, and 1 kid in college, all at the same time. And things just keep getting crazier and crazier. I recently became a grandfather for the first time. Married off my 2nd kid, and now we're about to marry off my wife's daughter in August, and so life is just happening.
How often do they all get together now? Like, is that possible?
So Tuesday night is family night, so everyone that lives in the area comes over on Tuesday night. We make dinner, we hang out, we play games, we laugh. It's been fun, actually, as I've liked different parts of every stage of my kids' lives, but I'm really, really enjoying my kids in adulthood and just the friendship that you can develop with your children at that point. Mm-hmm. My oldest daughter and her husband live in California, so we don't get to see them as often. We have gotten to see them 4 times this year already, which is fantastic because they are the ones that have my young grandson, Azul. It's always fun to get to hang out with him, and it just is a very surreal experience for me, because it's like, this boy is mine. He's like a part of my lineage. You can't really fully wrap your mind around it until you're holding your first grandchild in your hand, like what that actually means.
Question number 2. You're married to a nurse. How does that affect your daily life as a recruiter? Good, bad, otherwise, how does that affect your daily life?
Well, my wife has a pretty favorable schedule. She's been a nurse for 20 years. And so she has this 4 on, 8 off, 10 off schedule. So she's around a lot. So when I'm on the phone, she's a bit nosy, and she likes to listen in and hear what's going on. And there's so many times where she's whispering to me like what something a nurse said just meant, like she knows all the acronyms, and she's able to help me with that. I think that it really gives me an ability to understand what a nurse's life is like, what a nurse goes through. I have the ability to understand that the day after a shift, she's still kind of at work. She's still kind of unwinding and getting back into the flow of not being on and having to serve and give everything that she has for somebody in their time of need. I think it really gives me a super appreciation for both the fulfilling aspects of the job, as well as the ones that are really challenging. My wife's an L&D nurse, and I always say it's either the happiest place in the hospital or the saddest. And it's wild to see the emotional swings that go along with that. And she'll come home one day and just be like, I have this awesome family, this great patient, just the sweetest girl, and she had this beautiful baby, and it was so much fun to watch them interact as a family. And then there will be another day where it's like everything went sideways, and it was scary, and it was and there was a lot that we had to do to kind of recover. And it's a huge up and down emotional swing. And I guess being married to her, I understand that in a way that maybe some other people can't.
I wondered if perspective would come into that answer, and it sounds like that's absolutely true. Like, your perspective is so much different than maybe other recruiter that doesn't have that in their life. All right, question number 3. I worked with your brother for years. I texted him last night, and I said, okay, give me some dirt. I want a fun story. And he's like, okay, hang on. 10 minutes later, he sends me a text back. He's like, ask him how many chili cheeseburgers he's had in one night. What the heck?
Okay, so in Southern California, there is a hamburger chain that started back in the 40s called Tommy's, Original Tommy's.
Okay.
Not to be duplicated. As a matter of fact, their motto is, if you don't see the shack, take it back. It's this really greasy, fantastic flavor, unique chili. It's very pasty. It doesn't have any beans in it. It's just an incredible flavor. We call it the sweet nectar of God. So when I was living in Southern California, I used to work for a nonprofit organization that worked with high school students, and we one night did a challenge where we went to 5 different Tommy's in one night, Tommy's Burgers in one night, and the challenge was to eat a double chili cheeseburger at each one. So over the course of about 3 hours, we were able to go, there's like 5 of them kind of along the 134 freeway there in LA. We went out to the one that was the furthest, ate there, and then came back and ended at our Mecca, the one that we always went to after our clubs and our hangouts. And so I was able to put away 5 chili cheeseburgers. I was, probably 22 at the time, so a little bit different digestive scenario for me at that point, different metabolism scenario. The goal, you had to keep it down for 5 minutes, and that last one was really tough. I think it made it down to about right here. And I held on for 5 minutes and then released quite a bit of it into the trash can, but I earned my t-shirt, and I was one of only 2 people that got them all 5 down.
Wow. I had a feeling it was something like that. So yeah, that's sure. Wow. That, isn't it the stuff you do when you're younger? I guess that's wow.
I will say that the food is so good at Tommy's that it wasn't one of those, this ruined me for life. I still eat there every time I go out to California.
If I get out to California, I need to put that on my list then.
If I was on death row, my last meal would be 2 or 3 of the Tommy's breakfast sandwiches, which is eggs, sausage, cheese, chili on an English muffin, and it is delightful.
Oh my gosh. It's way close to lunch too, by the way, so
yes.
that sounds fantastic.
I'm getting hungry just talking about it.
All right, question number 4, and I think I know the answer to this. Who or what inspires you?
There are a lot of different things that inspire me. I did talk about my family. I think my faith is a big part of who I am. It really does lead me to that idea that I talked about before about living my life for others, and wanting to be a person that makes the decision to be sacrificial. My Christian faith and following Jesus, I think, is probably the main inspiration of my life. And then, of course, my wife and my kids. They're the reason why I feel pressure to be good at what I do, and that pressure on the best days pushes me to overcome the obstacles that get in my way and accomplish the goals I want to accomplish in life.
I figured those 2 things would probably be your answer, so clearly we've worked together for too long then. Question number 5, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Oh man, so my wife and I, over the course of our 5 years of marriage, we just celebrated 5 years in July, have really got addicted to cruising. And we had a chance to do a tour of the Greek islands. It was an 11-day cruise, and it was fantastic. And then we've done a lot of Caribbean stuff, and we've taken our family on a few. So I think that kind of one of our long-term bucket list cruise goals is to do like a South America cruise down towards Argentina and going around the tip of South America, but there are some that actually take you to Antarctica. And there is just something so intriguing to me about being in a place that maybe only 1% of the world has ever been to. You know what I mean? And like, apparently it's a pretty dangerous cruise, and the seas down in that area can get pretty volatile pretty fast.
Wow.
And I don't even think you get off of the boat, but you port next to kind of like an island right off of Antarctica. But just to say that I've been there would be a pretty fantastic thing. There's a ton of places we want to go. My wife and I have a saying that we've been saying since the beginning of our marriage is all the things. We want to do all the things.
That's a good slogan to have, by the way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This would be the camera. This would be the point. If we weren't both remote, I would look around the camera and ask Nathan or Dolan, like, have we ever had anybody say Antarctica before? No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's true. So we've done these for a while, and that's awesome. That's a great answer. Okay, give me a couple, just quick, how do I get in touch with you? If this sounds like the type of recruiter that you're looking for, what's the best way to get in touch with Luke Brower?
I do most of my work off of my cell phone. I mean, obviously email is fine, and I'll get email, and so that's lbrower@atlasmedstaff.com. And then my cell phone number, I'm willing to give it out. It's 970-818-1814. That's the primary way. I usually like to text my nurses first because more and more these days people don't like to have their days interrupted, and they would rather be able to decide when to answer the phone. And so, you know, I might call and put it out there knowing that I'm probably going to get screened, and then shoot a text right after, just say, hey, that was me, and I'm sorry to interrupt your day, and I just want to meet you wherever you're at, especially if I'm getting a lead of a nurse that's interested in traveling for the first time. That's probably the primary way for me.
Perfect. All right, well, see, that was easy. Thank you so much. I appreciate you getting on with us, talking to us. So if Luke sounds like the type of recruiter you're looking for, you've got his phone number, you've got his email address. Shoot him a text, give him a call, shoot him an email, and let's go from there.
I love setting nurses up for success. It's by far my favorite part of the job is that very first conversation and just helping nurses get oriented in what I consider to be a very noisy industry. I'm an industry where there's just so many things flying at you from all over the place, and you just really don't know who to believe. And I usually just tell my nurses right off the bat, like, even if you don't end up working for me, I want you to have the knowledge and the power to be able to make good decisions and good deals for yourself, because you can have a really good time as a traveler if you have that knowledge, and you can have some things go sideways if you don't. So it's really an honor for me to work with nurses and set them up for success like that.
Awesome. Well, Luke, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to you guys.
All right. We'll see you next time.